Good afternoon, folks. I'm attorney Donnie Kilfin with the Kilfin Law Firm PC. This afternoon, I am delighted to be guest hosting Florida U Judge with my colleague, Kate Spurlock. Kate has well served the citizens of our community for the past several years as an assistant state attorney, and she is now running for circuit court judge in and for Pinellas and Pasco counties, Florida. So with that being said, let's introduce Kate.
Hi.
Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining me this afternoon.
Of course. Thank you
It's
for having me.
always great to see you.
Yes, same to you, Donnie.
So I just wanted to start off a little bit about talking about your background so that our viewers can get a better sense as to who you are on a more personal level. Could you tell us where you were born, where you were raised, and where you went to college?
Sure. So I was born in Bristol, Tennessee, a small little town in the eastern corner on the Virginia border. And from there, I was raised my whole life in Bristol, went through elementary school, middle school, high school, and then at college, I went to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And then I moved to Chattanooga for approximately 7 years. After college, I stayed a few more years and worked, and I actually met my now husband while I was attending the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
Nice. So when did you come down to Florida?
So I honestly went to college for business, and I never thought at all about law. And I was just getting out. I graduated in '09 when the recession, and I couldn't hardly find a job. And I did get a job, and I worked really hard. My first job out of college was at Hertz Rental Car. And then I got hired on into school. And I really just found that I wasn't fulfilled. And I really went on to a soul searching, like, what is my actual purpose and calling? And that actually led me to law. And I interned with the chief criminal judge in Chattanooga, Judge Stern, on my days off, and kind of got the inside scoop on what is it like to be a judge? What is it like to see litigants in the courtroom? And so I ended up applying to law school and was accepted and went to Florida Coastal in Jacksonville in 2012. And so my husband and I came on down to Florida, and we started our roots in Jacksonville for law school. And then upon graduation, I took the job as an assistant state attorney here in the 6th Judicial Circuit, and I specifically work in the Clearwater office.
Okay, and you and your husband Tyler have a young son as well, do you not?
We do. We have
And how old is he?
boy. He's 4 years old. His name is Deacon. And so he's always been a Florida boy. He loves it down here. And we live actually right into the Pasco line, and we love kind of being in both worlds of Pinellas and Pasco County.
You know, Kate, I have seen firsthand how hard you work and the level of dedication that you put into your cases and what you do on behalf of the victims who you're advocating for. How do you strike that work-life balance as well as you do to be the trial lawyer that you are and also at the same time be a wife and a mom?
You know, it's not easy. I don't always think that there is balance. Sometimes I do have to give more to my job. And I'm just really blessed with my husband, Tyler, who picks it up where I can't. And our son is just amazing. But, you know, as a trial litigant, when you're in trial, there is no second option, right? Once you've sworn a jury, you have to see that case to completion. And so sometimes that means I'm not putting him to bed, or I'm not there, you know, for pickup. But what I do is really important. And my husband really values the work that I do for this community and the public service. And honestly, my son has started to understand that not every kid has the life that he has, and you know that mommy does some big stuff to help other kids in our community.
Most definitely. I mean, you really do a tremendous service for the members of our community in your capacity as an assistant state attorney, no doubt about it. And I think you may have touched on this just a few moments ago when you were living up in Tennessee. You were saying that perhaps you were looking for your purpose in life and didn't quite find it right away. What specifically made you decide to look to the law to maybe find that purpose?
So I learned, and thankfully very early on, that some people are fed by the money that they make and what they're bringing in for themselves. But I learned early on, if I didn't feel like I was helping someone else, I really felt incomplete. I felt like I was just moving through the motions, and I was dreading Monday through Friday. And my husband said, I love you dearly, but I cannot listen to this for the next 50 years. Like, you've got to figure it out. And I really started to honestly pray on it and reflect on it. Like, what are my God-given abilities, and how can I better serve beyond myself? And it's weird to end up into law. Nobody would really expect that. But I ended up seeing the work that she did as a judge. And she was previously, in her experience, Judge Stern was they call them district attorneys, but an ADA. And she explained to me how her decision making and discernment can really affect people's lives, right? And if you are wise and you have experience and you have good discernment, that's a real purpose to serve the citizens well and to make tough calls. And so actually I was very intentional. I went to law school to be an assistant state attorney and then one day run for judge.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. I mean, did you know when you were in law school that working as an assistant state attorney and as a trial lawyer is something that you wanted to do? And it sounds like you were very much resolved from an early point in time that is what you were going to do.
Yes, I interned at the state attorney's office in Jacksonville for 3 semesters. And then I did the U.S. attorney's office in Jacksonville. I clerked for a judge for a semester. I also was on moot court and mock trial and all of those other teams. I was on honor council and president of other organizations. So for me, it was like a real calling. And I really felt like I clicked into my purpose in that phase of my life. And again, here now.
Wow, Kate, you really have a lot of experience. Just listening to all the things that you've done and what you've been a part of, it sounds like you are, and I already know this, well qualified to serve the citizens of our community in the capacity of a circuit court judge. How many years have you worked for the state attorney's office here in Clearwater?
It'll be coming up this fall on my 9th year at the state attorney's office. I started just like everybody else in the misdemeanor county court, where you handle everything from a DUI to disorderly intox and trespass. And then I was promoted up to felony, where I was just a line attorney, like most attorneys are in my office. And I handled really everything from burglary to a scheme to defraud to murder and sexual battery. And at the time, I was the youngest attorney in my office promoted into special prosecution, which is I'm in the special victims unit.
And tell us a little bit about what that special victims unit entails.
So the special victims unit is comprised currently of 3 attorneys, including myself, and we handle cases of aggravated child abuse, child molestation of any child under the age of 12. We do homicides with children victims, any online exploitation of kids, and human trafficking. We do some of adults, but primarily children who are victims of human trafficking.
That's excellent. You know, I think that if you're looking for a purpose in life, to get to the point where you're prosecuting crimes involving the abuse and exploitation of children, you've really hit the nail on the head there. I mean, that's just, again, a tremendous service that you have provided and continue to provide to the residents of this community. And how many jury trials have you done over the course of that time? I think you're right around 60.
I've done 59 jury trials, 74 if you include my non-jury trials.
That's a lot of experience, Kate. And
well, the Jimmy Rice unit, I didn't explain that, but in our unit, we're actually the only attorneys in the office that also do civil law through the Jimmy Rice Act. So we actually handle any sex offender who's being released from the Department of Corrections that triggers a petition, and then we give them a civil jury trial and then a annual review every year of a bench trial where we use civil law as well. So most attorneys in my office only do criminal, but in my unit, we also have to be up to speed on civil law. Which,
again, brings an element of diversity to your experience that I think would well serve you in the capacity of a circuit court judge, because, you know, realistically, you could potentially be doing both over the course of your career going forward.
Yes.
Okay.
I know we've had cases against each other over the years. So
you and I?
Yes.
Yes, we have. Yes. And it's always been a pleasure working with you. You're one of the fairest prosecutors that I know. And I mean, really, there's many there. But that's why when, I was asked to assist and to support you, I didn't hesitate. I think you are going to be an excellent judge, Kate.
Thank you, Johnny.
So, I mean, you're in the courtroom really every working day of your life.
Yes.
I mean, I'm there all the time. I'm in court almost every day. And I think it's fair to say that just about every day I am in the courtroom, I see you there in some capacity in one courtroom or another.
Yes. We go from courtroom to courtroom. So we actually have to appear in front of all of the circuit court judges.
So you've really got a tremendous amount of familiarity as it is with regard to practice and procedure here in Pinellas County. You know how things are done. You know how they operate. And you've been really in that capacity now, like you said, for the last 10 years.
Yes.
what made you decide to run for circuit court judge? And I think you said a moment ago that when you were in school, you sort of had an inkling that maybe that would be the direction that you were headed in. But what specifically made you think that that's where you wanted to be in your career?
So when I started this journey to law school, the mentor that I had, Judge Stern, was a circuit court judge, and I saw the significant cases. I mean, they're heavy. They're dealing with people's lives and people whose lives will never be repaired at the end of a particular sentence. And I watched her do it with compassion, but firmness when needed to be, and really with good insight. And so for myself, I wanted to foster that same demeanor on the bench. And throughout my career, I've really been drawn to working in these bigger realms. I think not everyone has the skill set to handle the big things. I used to be on traffic homicide unit, and I don't think there's anything more significant than standing at a hospital when a 16-year-old girl has been killed by a drunk driver, consoling her mother, but also having to follow the law and telling her, what the outcomes look like and advocating for that. And so I've really been, forged in this process of handling significant cases and doing it with fairness and firmness when needed.
When necessary, absolutely. So what, in your view, are the qualities of an excellent judge?
I think judges need to have a really good demeanor. I think they need to, I actually heard someone say they should be the thermostat and not the thermometer. They should set the tone of the courtroom and not react to the tone of the courtroom. And I really liked that. And I also think that experience. You can be great and super nice and kind and, have good demeanor. But if you've never seen court on a daily basis, if you've never handled significant cases, if you've never been in trial where you're handling murder cases, capital sexual battery cases, where people's lives hang in the balance, I think you're inept to handle what a circuit court judge requires in any facet. Because in family law, you're going to be dealing with people's lives and custody of their children. And when you're, in civil, you very well could make a decision that bankrupts a company. And so you have to be comfortable and fluent with the law and show up every day prepared, which is what I would do.
Absolutely. And you do. No doubt about that. I think you were also recently endorsed by the Tampa Bay Times, which, obviously speaks volumes about your ethics, your integrity, and your legal ability. Is that the case?
Yes, they did. They did endorse me as the candidate for Group 9. So if you live in Pasco or Pinellas County, you can vote for me on August 20th, Group 9. And they base that on my experience and all the things that I bring to the table to make the best circuit court judge.
Excellent, Kate. Is there anything else you would like our viewers to know about you or your campaign?
I would like to tell you, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to votespurlock.com. I very much fully believe in transparency. So I have listed all of my trials on my website so that you can see the actual experience that I have. And I say that because in doing this work for the years that I have, you always start out in the 1 day long trials, but to try significant cases that last over a week, that have 50 plus witnesses, that have experts, that have a very unique circumstances in the law, like child hearsay and Williams rule and other facets, I think speaks to the testament of just the depth of experience that I bring as a circuit court judge.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I think you bring a great depth and a plethora of experience to the circuit court bench. And I am so grateful that you joined us here today, Kate. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much for giving me this space to introduce myself to everyone here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Donnie. And thank you.
Definitely.
Yes. Thank you, Florida, you judge.
I wanted just to come on to say before we wrap up, I'm gonna just pass the baton to you, Donnie. I think this is something you're gonna continue to do. You did a great job. I'm giving you a compliment. Great job, guest hosting. But I momentarily, accidentally, flashed my business card, and that was unintentional. I just wanted to make that clear. Great interview. Vote Spurlock.com. Everyone have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haiti.
Thank you.